Okay, looks like we are live. I'm going to real quick check the audio. Real quick for those of you on YouTube. We have not recorded or started recording our for our friends on Spotify just yet. I'm going to check my audio on YouTube and see if it's you guys can hear me or not. And we'll get started here a little bit later today, but that's okay. It happens sometimes. Let me see. Go to my stream here. Okay, we are. You guys can hear me, all right? Fantastic. All right, get our friends on Spotify on, and we'll get started here right now. You know, I've debated a lot personally about how we would lead the show today, or not lead the show, but just talk about in the show. Thought about talking about the playoff stuff, but frankly, I don't really think it's necessary to talk about that right now because we're still like a month away from the final rankings coming out. So maybe once we get closer, we'll talk about the playoff stuff, but not really. But we have a jam-packed show today. Of course, this is a Four Verticals podcast, episode 142. High atop a beautiful, well, somewhat cloudy Jacksonville, Florida, but it's nice weather right now. But I will be just telling you, if you live in the southeastern region of the U.S., where I am, here in like Florida, Georgia, this part of the country, let me call it next week when we do our show. Well, we'll still do it. Well, we'll have a show Tuesday on Veterans Day, but more on that in a little bit because there's not to be a schedule change on that. It happens sometimes, and we'll discuss that towards the end. But yeah, this time a couple days ago, next week, on next Tuesday, it's been pretty cold up here. So first real big cold spell, but it's been nice this weekend though. Temperatures in the 80s, 90s, or whatever. Not 90s, we're done with that, but 70s, 80s, so it's gonna be nice. But anyway, yeah, jam-packed show. No, we're a little bit later than usual. Happens sometimes, but yeah, got a huge show today. Coaching carousel news, upset alerts, Bucs, Patriots. Got some Marvel news as well. We'll bring that up towards the end of the show. But again, if you're new here, again, make sure to subscribe. I'm clapping because I'm emphasizing subscribing. Make sure you do it, okay? Make sure you like the streams, like the videos, follow us on X, Twitter, go to Spotify. There should be all those links should be in the channel description, and be sure to follow us on Instagram as well. We're new over there. We try to do. We're gonna hopefully ramp up the content there on Instagram pretty soon. I mean, we did a little video on Saturday morning about the games coming up. I'll do that again. Find a way to do it on this coming up Saturday. So. Yeah, I guess we get started here. I know I wanted to talk about, or I wanted to discuss the whole YouTube TV thing. I might do a quick video on that tomorrow, like an individual clip, because I'm thinking, or at least I'm hoping, that there will be some resolution, but it's not looking like it. So we'll see about that. But yeah, I was hoping there was going to be something, or at least I was wondering if there was going to be any resolution today or not. But anyway, we'll do the video. We will just do the video on that separately tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that tomorrow. And yeah, let's get into this. So coaching carousel update. A couple things here I want to talk about. Got some thoughts on the Auburn job, some thoughts on Penn State, thoughts on LSU, because unfortunately there is more chaos going over there now, apparently. And also explaining a bit of a bombshell that Josh Pay dropped yesterday on Busting with the Boys, Taylor Lewan and those folks over there, Will Compton and all of them, dropping a random bombshell on their Wednesday show yesterday. Very random at the very end about Lincoln Riley. USC, something to watch, according to Josh Pay. I will sort of give you guys my thoughts on what's going on there. But let's start out with Auburn here. So, of course, the Auburn job is open. We talked about it ad nauseum on Tuesday. Of course, it opened up on Sunday. My thoughts on the candidates are still the same. I still believe it's John Summerall from Tulane, who was still in the mix there. There are, of course, other names are being considered. And I think as we get closer to right around December-ish is where I believe we will start getting a bit of a clearer picture on who will be actually considered. But for the moment, it's John Summerall's job to lose. I know that Brent Key, from Georgia Tech's head coach, was pretty defiant today in his statements about him staying. There are, of course, a whole bunch of rumors going around about Kenny Dillingham. We'll see, okay? We'll just see about that. But something that's come up, and I may have touched on this a little bit on the Tuesday show, but I want to explain a bit more here about the Auburn job as a job, not the current state of the program, just the job, right? And there's a lot of discussion about, is it a good job? Is the expectations at Auburn a little bit sky high? Is it too much, pie in the sky, wish fulfillment with Auburn fans? And most of this is sort of a reaction to what Joel Klatt said on the Next Round Live in Birmingham. Jim Dunaway, Jim Brown, and all of them, Lance Taylor. They, of course, have Klatt on every single week, and they talked about the Auburn job opening up, and Klatt, and no real way of sugarcoating it, kind of dismissed the Auburn job as not a big deal, sort of downplaying it, jabbing at the fan base. And look, I respect Klatt. I'm a big fan of his. I think he's one of the best in the industry in terms of his analysis of the game, being a former player. I think he's a little bit wrong about, or I disagree with him in some ways, but I also do agree with him in other ways as well about the Auburn job. I do agree with him that it being in the shadow of Alabama, of course, that is obvious, right? It is in the shadow of this massive empire that Alabama has built over the last 50, 60 years, including Bear Bryant, some coaches in between, and including, of course, the best coach in college football history, Nick Saban. So I agree with Klatt on that. I think everyone would agree. But Klatt, what Joel Klatt said about, Auburn being, their fans are too, pie in the sky, if you will, if their expectations. I disagree with that. And I disagree because every fan base should feel like that. If you're at the very least, if you're a reasonable contender, right? If you're, for example, in, Bud Elliott's blue chip ratio every single year in the top 25, historic like Auburn has been, and like, Florida has, Texas has, Texas A&M, you should expect, or at least hope, to compete for national championships. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And unfortunately for Auburn fans, it's just been, ever since they fired Malzahn, it's been wrong hire after wrong hire. And I think it is, it's a bit cliche to say it, but it is important for them to get this right, because the roster currently is at the moment, besides, any transfers, at least at the moment, is ready-made. It is, in a sense, turnkey ready. So yeah, I think Klatt talking about the Auburn job, sort of downplaying it. Again, on the side of, yes, is it in the shadow of Alabama? Is it lesser than them? Of course it is. Bama, even in its down years in like the early 2000s before Saban got there, it was still a good job. It was just the current structure of it and where the program was on a good place. And they needed someone to literally go in there like Gordon Ramsay does these horrible restaurants on Kitchen Nightmares, and literally has to tear the whole place down and build it back up. That's what Nick Saban did. And for Auburn, this isn't that big of a rebuild for Auburn. This is not that big of a rebuild. It's not like what Hugh Freeze had to do in terms of the roster-wise, having to take over after Brian Harsin. Okay, the roster is, for the most part, outside of a few guys leaving, still ready-made. All you would have to do is to go in the portal starting in January and go get. Hopefully, there's a good amount of players out there that you can get to supplement the losses. So, or I guess in the best case for Auburn is to keep some of them. So, do I think the Auburn job is cursed? Per se, I don't think so. I think it's more or less. It's not that it's cursed. It's just they've made a whole bunch of decisions that have been pretty stupid, right? Getting Brian Harsin and getting Hugh Freeze, thinking that he was going to be some sort of offensive savior, and it turns out it's not. Not to mention him. His inability to develop and properly evaluate quarterbacks. So, no, it's not that it's cursed. I mean, we've seen them compete for national championships, going to 2 of them within the past 50 years. They've competed for multiple SEC championships. They've had multiple players go to the NFL. So, no, it's not a cursed program. It's in a bit of a rut right now. It's sort of like what happened to, kind of in a lot of ways, it's happening to Florida and what happened to Tennessee. To where, remember Tennessee for like the early 2000s, like 2007, all the way until when Josh Heupel got there. Heupel, it was a lot of, coaches going, walking in and out. Yeah, you had some, minor blip years of Butch Jones for like 2 seasons. That was it. Then, of course, you got Jeremy Pruitt. Wasn't a whole lot to write about, right? It was very much so people were thinking that Tennessee had sort of, gone the way of the dodo bird. Well, not necessarily. I mean, the school didn't go away. The resources there were still there. You still had the fan investment. you said a lot of care about the program. All they needed to do, Tennessee did, was just make a hire, to make the best hire. And they made the best hire in Josh Heupel. At first, it didn't seem like it, but hindsight's 2020 and whatnot. But now it's a really good hire. So that's what Auburn needs. And they need to find their Josh Heupel, not literally a Josh Heupel type coach. Now, of course, that would be Alex Kalesh. They just need to find that type of coach that can do what Heupel's doing at Tennessee, which is elevating them and sort of getting them back to where I think a lot of folks would expect them to be based on their brand and what they've done in the past. So, no, Auburn's not a cursed job. It's just they've made a lot of dumb decisions. The roster's good. At least that, in terms of the current folks there. And, of course, you have to see who ends up leaving either in the portal or NFL. But, yeah, it's not a cursed program. It's just they made dumb decisions. And now, whoever this next coach is going to be, whomever it's going to be, they're going to have maybe the best alignment they've had ever. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the hire they make will be the best hire. Okay, that's a little bit different, right? You've heard about the Jimbo Fisher theories and this and that. So the alignment is there, but the problem is, though, the why I'm concerned and why Josh Pate is concerned is that while there might be good alignment, the direction that alignment is going may not be for the best interest of the fan base and the program, right? So again, think Jimbo Fisher. Right? If they hire Jimbo Fisher, while there's alignment to get Jimbo Fisher, that may not necessarily jive well with the fan base, right? They may not necessarily make the fans happy. Which, go look at Tennessee, for example, right? They tried to get Greg Schiano. The fans said Greg Schiano no. They protested. They painted the rock up there. It was a full-on unrest that one Sunday after Thanksgiving. And I remember that because I was watching it unfold on social media at the time. I was in high school, by the way. Too, that's how long ago that was. But yeah, for Auburn, it's not a cursed program. It's not cursed. It's just they've made a lot of dumb decisions. They cannot afford to make another one now, or else they will be in this repeated. If they don't make a good hire now, this cycle will continue. So now, as for Penn State, a little bit different situation, right? Penn State that fired James Franklin. The thinking out there is, maybe James is, their Mark Richt to the next head coach being their Kirby Smart. Well, like I mentioned on Tuesday, they had Kurt Cignetti, Coach Sig at Indiana say no. They had Matt Rule say no. He signed an extension. Other possible candidates like Brent Key, also probably taken off the table there, and a few others. So the big rumor, or not rumor, just a big name that has sort of leapt to the forefront is Mike Elko. I believe he is a Pennsylvania native. He's from up there. Of course, he's doing well at Texas A&M. So there's been a lot of chatter about him going up there. Now, could he go up there? Now, that's a little bit different versus him being the best candidate. Now, I guess I should probably answer that. Would he be a good candidate for the job? Absolutely he would be. Of course he would. He's a good coach. Now, look at his success at Duke, and yes, it was very small, and yes, the A&M sample size is small, but you have to understand is that he's winning at Texas A&M, which for a while, much like what's going on with Auburn, did not make the best hires. They went through, Jimbo Fisher, Kevin Sumlin. Before him was Mike Sherman. Just a lot of dumb decisions to a certain extent. They ended up choosing correctly finally with Mike Elko. And again, I get it. His sample size is very small, but then again, he's winning at a place that was not consistently doing that before. They had a lot of resources at A&M. They just weren't making the right hire. And you go look at his sample size at Duke. He took over for David Cutcliffe. He retired. That place should have been a total wreck. And he comes in and he wins 9 games his first year. Then he beats Clemson in his second year, and they win, I believe, 8 or 7 games. So, that's pretty impressive. So, yes, I get it. It's a small sample size, but yes, he'll be a good candidate for this job. Now, the other question is, will he leave Texas A&M? No. A&M has money. Well, almost knocked into my computer there. A&M has money. They have stability. They're right in the middle of a championship playoff run. So, unfortunately, no, he will not be available. If he did end up leaving and going to Penn State, I would literally fall off this chair. Probably not, but that would be a huge bombshell. That would be the equivalent of firing off a nuke into the sky and it blowing up. I know that sounds pretty morbid, but that's what it would look like. Elko leaving for Penn State. Now, I've heard a lot of chatter about sticking with Penn State. We'll move on. We're finishing up Penn State here and we'll move on. Other candidates, mostly being Clark Lee at Vanderbilt, who I believe he'll be a good hire for them. And actually, I think that would be sort of Penn State's version of getting Mike Elko, right? Sort of an Elko type path. Both of them, ironically, on I believe they were on Brian Kelly's staff at one point. Yeah, they both were. Yeah, both on Brian Kelly's staff. They leave, go elsewhere to these more rich academic schools who are not traditional football powers. Duke, obviously, and of course Vanderbilt. They go there. It takes them. Well, it takes Clark Lee a little bit to get it going, versus Mike Elko taking over Duke and immediately winning. But in some ways, both of them are having their success. Both of them had success or are having success at both of those more or less academic institutions, and they had and are currently having success at those schools. So a very similar path, and yeah, that would be in a lot of ways, yeah, Penn State's version of Mike Elko, and I think it would work. I think it'll be a very good hire for them. Now, the only detraction would be, of course, who would his staff be? Would he be bringing some of his offensive personnel? Of course, would he be bringing also GM Barton Simmons, formerly of the Cover 3 podcast? So would he, bring that staff with him? Would they necessarily travel with him to State College? I think they would, and if they did, if I'm a Penn State fan, after so many years of listening to Barton Simmons when he was at 247 and on Cover 3, and knowing his ability to understand his or at least his ability to evaluate talent, that would be huge for Penn State. Because I know that guy, or at least I don't know him personally, but from what I know from Barton, after listening to him for so many years and before he moved on to Vanderbilt as a GM, God, he's really smart. He is really smart. And again, if you don't know who I'm talking about, go back and watch those old Cover 3 podcasts. Just go to their channel and do like the oldest to newest or newest. We had the oldest to newest, like going like their videos and stuff, their history. Go watch some of their old episodes. And that guy, Barton Simmons, like he's not just a jag. He's a dude amongst dudes in terms of evaluating talent. So yeah, that would be my first concern. Now the other concern about Clark Lee would be, and now this isn't necessarily justified per se, other than it's not as justified in the staff. And the staff thing's more understandable, but what is not understandable is this whole, well, he's from Vanderbilt, we did that before, we shouldn't do that, that's too much on the nose. I get that, and I understand that certain folks around Penn State would feel that way. Same thing with how Florida would feel about going after John Summerall, right? You literally just did that by getting Billy Napier. But that shouldn't box you in, though. That should not be a deterrent to make you or preventing you from hiring that coach, right? Like if Clark Lee is the best coach available for Penn State, and he fits the program, he's sort of, again, like a Mike Elko type hire for you guys. It doesn't matter where he's from. He could be coming from, I don't know, from Pittsburgh State in Division III, I believe. That's where the Gorillas. Yeah, he could be coming from there. And if he's the best hire, make the hire. Like no one's stopping you from doing it. No one's saying to you, or there's no rules that say you can't go back to the same place you got a coach from. Nothing's preventing you from doing that. Yes, it's too on the nose. Yes, it's a little bit weird. You're going back to Vanderbilt and getting their coach again. But that shouldn't deter you. That shouldn't limit you. The same thing a lot of folks are saying about Auburn, saying, oh, you need to only stick to the Southeastern region and get those coaches. Again, Nick Saban and Urban Meyer, there weren't guys from the SEC. They were from freaking West Virginia and Ohio. Like they're not guys who were when they went to their original schools, mainly Saban. Like they weren't SEC guys. They weren't guys who had experience down there. Now, yes, I know Urban had experience recruiting down there when he was at Notre Dame, at least recruiting that region, I think. But still, there weren't guys who were used to living in that part of the country. But they won there. They won big. And of course, with in Saban's case, he won twice at LSU and Bama. So yeah, if Clark Lee's your best option, doesn't matter where he's from. Again, he could be from Vanderbilt, he could be from Pittsburgh State, the Gorillas. So it doesn't matter, at least in my opinion. Now for LSU, this is getting a little bit weird. Now initially we thought that they had a athletic director in place, which is Osbury, the AD. It turns out, they may not be the case. There's some confusion as to what the current president said of Ray Roos, I believe. Yeah, Wade Roos, the new president there. Sort of, I don't know. He was very vague about what the current, quote unquote, current AD's role is. which if I'm an LSU fan, that takes me from being confident to exhaling to we not be as well as we thought we were going to be, because it went from, I'm sure your feelings went from, okay, we're fine, we have a president, we've removed the interim tax from the 80, to, oh shit, we might still be fucked. Excuse the language, but yeah, we might be screwed still. And that's worrisome, to say the least. That is worrisome that there's not necessarily a clear alignment still. We'll keep an eye on that, but yeah, very confusing situation down there in Baton Rouge, and hopefully it gets figured out. But it turns out, as it will, that the plot is thickening down there. It turns out who was really in charge down there. Again, like I mentioned on Tuesday, or well, not just Tuesday in the past, LSU without no alignment is no bueno. Like that's not negotiable for any of these candidates, right? Whether it's Lane Kiffin, whether it's John Summerall for some reason, whether it's Alex Kolesh or anyone, like whether it's the alignment of the administration or other factors coming into play. Yeah, of course, someone's going to like that. So I think it's in the best interest of LSU and the new president who was brought in on Monday, I believe, or earlier this week. They need to get their act together, because right now it went from everyone thinking, okay, LSU is fine, and they stable things out, to like a lot of folks probably were confused about what the current status is of LSU. Like a lot of folks thought things were fine, but all of a sudden they're not fine. So, and finally, as we move on from the coaching carousel, as you wrap it up, Josh Pate, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, was on with Busting with the Boys, as he usually is on Wednesdays. Taylor One, Will Compton, great show, by the way. If you haven't checked them out, they're pretty good. So Josh, they do their little college football prediction show. I believe it's called The Locker Room, I believe. He hops on Wednesday nights, or Wednesday afternoons, I believe. They release it Wednesday night. And he was on there yesterday, and it turns out I haven't watched the full thing yet. I usually do that towards the end of the week. But I usually do listen to it, or I watch it, listen to it, but haven't watched it yet. But I watched a small clip. It was towards the end, and I think it was Will Compton who put it out. I think it was either Will or Taylor asked Josh, asked JP, hey, do you have any, could you spill, and I'm paraphrasing here, could you spill some tea on the coaching carousel? And Josh ended up doing so, kind of, did a little weave around, and then towards the very end of the clip, he mentioned, again, paraphrasing here, pay attention to Lincoln Riley at LSU. Whoa, not expecting that. Now, and of course, when I heard that, I thought, hot seat? No way, surely, right? I mean, look at USC. They're what, 7-2, 6-2, I believe. Hope their schedule here. I don't foresee a coaching change there immediately now, but I would be shocked by that. I mean, look, they're 6-2. They have one loss. I mean, I guess their schedule does get a little more difficult. They get Northwestern, Iowa at home. They travel to Oregon, UCLA. I mean, that you lose an Oregon game, that's only 9-3. That's not bad. So initially, I thought it was going to be, okay, Josh was referring to hot seat, but then I looked at the schedule earlier, and I had to look it up again just to be sure I was right. I'm like, if they go 9-3, like, okay, he's not getting fired. So then my attention turned to, so he's referring to him moving on from USC or like going elsewhere. Okay, so what does that mean? Does that mean him going to a different school, being hired away to a different program? Or does he take an NFL job? Because for a long time, you've heard Lincoln Riley's name being mentioned for a lot of these NFL coaching jobs, right? Like Dallas, for example, the Cowboys were up there for a while. Of course, like the Dolphins are available. There's a lot of other jobs that will open up eventually for, the NFL. But yeah, interesting little tidbit there, little tease there from Josh Pitt. I wonder if he'll address it on the show tonight. Probably won't. But I wonder if he'll address that, because that's a very ominous thing there. He said towards the end of his show of Busting the Boys. Now on USC and Lincoln Riley. Okay, all right. We'll see about that. But yeah, I didn't consider that based on how USC is going. But look, based on given this whole coaching carousel, who knows? Even 9-3 may not be good enough for USC. They could fire him. So who knows? Well, yeah, I guess according to Josh Pate, keep an eye on it. I guess keep an eye on that coaching position there, which is interesting. I didn't think that would be a scenario we would be walking into, but here we are. So coaching carousel should be fun this year. Should be And look, it's getting started too. We're not done yet. I mean, at least from what I'm thinking and what other folks in the industry are saying, we're not done yet. We're still, we're still wading into these waters, if you will. So, coaching carousel, fun stuff. So I'm going to get some water real quick. You have upset alerts. You have some Marvel news because you have some stuff that was confirmed today. Then we also have a Patriots Bucs prediction. Huge game in the NFL for Tampa off a bye week, by the way. So I'm going to be here on YouTube, get some water. I'll be right back. Again, by the way, if you're new here, watching live or on the replay, again, make sure to subscribe. Tell your friends, too. If you have any relatives or people you know who watch college football, tell them, subscribe to us. We're Verticals Podcast. We're not the newest show on the block, or we're not the oldest show on the block. We're kind of new. We've been around for like a year and a half, started last summer. We're not the oldest show, but we're the newest show. We're not the oldest show, but, we're still developing our fan base. We have, I think, currently 10 subscribers at the moment, which is actually gone higher. So again, if you're listening to this on the replay or on Spotify or live right now, as I think some of you are, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you check that, and also go tell your friends and family to subscribe too. You'll very much so appreciate it. Helps us out with the numbers too. Yeah. Be sure to, again, subscribe, like the streams, like the videos. Cannot emphasize it enough. Again, this is where things are going to get very active for us. Next December, this next month, December, will be very active for us. College football stuff, coaching hires, the coaching carousel spinning. Marvel news will be picking up. The NFL season going straight into close to the playoffs. So a lot of things happening in December. Well, a lot is happening this weekend too. Upset alerts. So week 11, got a lot of things to talk about here. A lot of games. A shorter list, but very elevated, to say the least. Very elevated. So first game up, Oregon at Iowa. 3:30 game on CBS. So Gary Danielson, Brian Essler, Jenny Dale, all of the friends there at CBS will be on tap there. Weather there for Oregon, Iowa, up there in Iowa City, it's going to be crappy. Windy, rainy, cold, maybe even some snow potentially. Not the ideal playing conditions you want there for Oregon. And by the way, we've seen this happen before with Oregon. We've already seen what this game looks like. And that's the Wisconsin game. The Ratio was at home, but again, similar elements, cold, rainy. It was so bad enough that the cheerleaders look miserable, and Puddles taking his shirt off, the mascot there, the duck. He's like crowd surfing. So yes, that whole Wisconsin-Oregon game, total disaster. It was lovely to watch. So that, if you're an Oregon fan, you're experiencing that sort of again, but it's on the road. So we've already seen this happen before with Oregon, and not to mention the atmosphere at Autzen Stadium during that whole just demoralizing rainstorm. But the team itself did not play well. Again, they only scored 21 points. I think the final score was 21-7, I believe, and the spread. The line on that game was 30, I believe. So yeah, they didn't cover the spread, and part of that was because of the rain. The same case here. They're going on the road this time, and not to mention it's at Iowa, a place that they have been known to upset some teams, right? Think back to 2017 with Ohio State. Similar situation here. In fact, it may even be maybe even the same weekend, I believe. It was week 11, I believe, in 2017 when they lost. So feels very similar. Again, it's on the road, hostile environment, bad weather. Again, we've already seen Oregon play absolutely horrible and terrible weather conditions. So we've seen this movie before with Oregon, but we've seen it at home. We haven't seen it on the road yet. And Iowa would love to absolutely get this game shortened, control the clock, run the football. They would absolutely love to do it. And I don't know if Oregon's necessarily prepared to do that because, again, go back to that Wisconsin game. Wisconsin tried to do the same thing, and they kind of gave Oregon fits. And this time, and that was at home, by the way. Again, this is on the road. So because it's on the road, weird environment with the weather, good hostile environment, the crowd there in Iowa City. I have this game as a code red. I am extremely concerned here. And also up to the point to where I think Iowa's going to win the game outright. Somehow, some way, I think Iowa will win the game outright. I feel pretty good about it. So, yeah, that's my sort of big upset of the weekend. I think Oregon will lose to Iowa. Next up here, Indiana playing Penn State on the road. This would have been a good game too, at least back when we're looking at it back in the spring and summer, but unfortunately it's not. I believe Indiana is favored by more than 2 touchdowns. It's on the road, but I see all of that. But as I've said before, this is November, right? A lot of these teams, especially a lot of these players too, whether it's new teams or teams of new players, like transfer-laden teams, it's still November. It's a long month, and we've seen teams like Indiana last year and other teams where they get to November, but they don't know how to grasp it. Excuse me, they don't know how to grasp it because these programs or teams specifically have not been there consistently. Now, Indiana was there last year, but they struggled to grasp it last year. They lost to Ohio State. Now that was their only loss in the regular season, but still they took a loss in November. Could that be this game? Could it be that Penn State and their interim coaching staff there, they finally get a huge win? They finally get the massive win they've been looking for over a nationally highly ranked top team. I don't know. I've been paying attention to it. It's in the yellow category. It's on the red category. It's in the yellow. We're watching it, but again, of some of these teams like Indiana, we saw it with Georgia Tech last week. We saw it a little bit with Virginia. These teams who are not consistently competing in November for a playoff spot, it's a new atmosphere for them. It's a new world for them, and they're not used to it. So, and look, also to mention Indiana, according to Coach Signetti, they're banged up a little bit. Apparently, so they're not fully healthy. They're going on the road to a very desperate program, a very prideful program in Penn State, who was salivating for a huge win. Can they do it? I don't know, but we're watching it. Next game up, Georgia at Mississippi State, the Battle of the Bulldogs here. This one's kind of concerning a little bit concerning. The reason why it's concerning, it's a game after a very emotional game against Florida, right? You guys, if you remember, if you're able to watch it, especially if you're a YouTube TV customer, if you're able to watch it last week, Georgia comes up from behind. They beat Florida, very emotional game. The last game that will be played here in Jacksonville for a couple of years. So they're rewarded by going on the road to Mississippi State, who is still, again, much like Penn State, salivating for a huge win over a highly ranked team. And this will be their chance to do it if you're Mississippi State and Jeff Lebby to get a huge win here. It's on the road. I also still believe this. I think Mississippi State, in terms of the environment, the stadium atmosphere, is one of the most underrated in America. It's loud. At least, I haven't been there before in person, but what I've seen from TV, it is loud, man. And even from folks I've heard who have been there, that's a loud place to go to with the cowbells and stuff. And with this far away in November, of Mississippi State, again, they came close. Again, they've been close. Tennessee, Texas, maybe third time's the charm there. So, again, hostile environment. Georgia's coming off a very emotional win over Florida. This is the classic trip-up spot, okay? This is where an upset could happen. So this one, borderline red, but it's in the yellow category. Only because I feel like Georgia, at least from the athlete standpoint, can out-athlete Mississippi State. But then again, Mississippi State, offensively, it's a unique offense. Georgia has had a terrible, terrible pass rush this year. I am watching this one, and I am actually kind of concerned. So, thinking here. Should we do it? Yeah, let's do it. We're putting this in the code red. I am actually concerned here. I am changing it. So, yeah, making the executive decision to change the Mississippi State Georgia game into a code red. Instead of yellow, we are going to the red category. So, yeah, I'm making the executive decision to change that right now. So, yep, code red for Mississippi State, Georgia. I am very concerned about that game. I had it in the yellow category, shamefully, but yeah, we are changing that to a red, not a yellow. I think the upset could happen there. More here. We have 3 more here. So Ohio State at Purdue. This one, frankly, it's in the ring category, which I guess I should have explained this earlier. If you're new here, the way we do our upset alert categories, it's not like the number scale. So it's not like a 1 to 10 scale. It's a color scale. So red means the upset is likely to happen. Yellow could happen. Green, we're watching it. This one, we're watching it. I feel better about this one, about Ohio State winning the game. But again, it is at the road. It is on the road at Purdue. It's a program that has had a history of pulling off upsets. The Spoilermaker sort of conundrum, or not conundrum, but just the whole Spoilermaker, situation there. They have had, again, have history of pulling off these huge, massive upsets, and this could be one here. Again, it's it's on the road. It's a game that no one's really paying attention to. It's a bit of a sleepy opponent. The time before, just don't let it be you, Ohio State. And look, like I said before, and I'll say it again, November is a long month. It is tough for a lot of these teams who are still undefeated to get through, especially now with the extended playoff, to successfully be undefeated throughout the entire regular season. It's hard to do. It's not easy to do. So we are watching that one. So I guarantee we're watching that one. Next up here, Notre Dame hosting Navy. This could have been a ranked matchup, but Navy had to lose to North Texas last week, so it's not. It's in the yellow category. We're watching it, but it's at home for Notre Dame. If it was on the road, or at a neutral site, I guess that's where it'd be at. I would be slightly more concerned, but not really. So it's in yellow, borderline green. We're watching it, but I'm not too concerned about that one. But we are watching it, though. Could happen. And then finally, Auburn going on the road to Vanderbilt. This one is in the red category. I am extremely concerned for Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, to me, again, much like with Indiana, much like with some of these other teams, again, it is very hard to win in November. It's a long month. They lost last week. And again, it's a program that is not used, of course, obviously. They're not used being in playoff contention all the way in November. And they still have a lot of games left. I mean, they have Tennessee looming on rivalry week. That could be a huge game, by the way. It could be even game day implications, too, by the way, I think. Don't lose this game. Again, Auburn, a lot of talent. Interim coach, a lot of folks sort of use that as a, rallying point for them. Again, interim coach, talent, probably, again, and this is insane to think about. This is probably going to be the best defense that Vanderbilt has faced all year round, or one of the best. I know LSU's up there. I know Texas was up there as well. This is another one, very talented defense, and a offense of Vanderbilt that is turnover prone with Pavia. They're good offense, but I think we have noticed when they have faced elite competition, with Bama, LSU, and what am I blanking on? Team they played last week, Texas. Yeah, even though they've won some of those games, being LSU, that offense with Vanderbilt has not looked necessarily perfect. And I also wonder too if there's any possible distractions of Clark Lee and company about them taking over, or about them being considered for other jobs. So it's a weird situation for Vanderbilt because they're again facing a team that lost their head coach, or not lost, they fired them. Interim coach, sort of energizing the team a little bit, galvanizes the team, sort of rallies them around, circle the wagons, whatever. They have a good defense that's still playing hard. If you're a Vanderbilt fan, I am extremely nervous for this game because Auburn, again, it's a talented team too, which is crazy to think about. It's a talented Auburn team that got rid of what was considered the problem, being the head coach, and now they're free, right? The strings are off for Auburn, so a whole realm of possibilities have been opened up for them. And this also includes down to Bama as well. So Auburn could ruin some folks this season here, but just all they needed was energizing a new head coach or a new person at the realm there. So Auburn, Vandy in the red category, I'm extremely concerned for Vanderbilt. I think they could lose the game outright. I'm not confident in that, having seen what Auburn's offense has been, but knowing that the problem has been sort of eliminated or removed to be Hugh Freeze. Who's to say Auburn cannot have a sort of sudden, renaissance on offense without Hugh Freeze being there, which would be almost poetic. So, yeah, upset alert segment, always fun to do these around this time of the week. Lastly here, we have two more things left. We have Marvel news, and we have Bucs Patriots prediction. But, lastly, just a little last reminder again, subscribe. Again, if you're watching this live or on replay, please subscribe to the channel. Again, this next month, like from here on out, all the way until New Year's, even past that, it's going to be crazy. Again, it's going to be really, really insane. A lot of busy things going on. So, again, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the streams, videos, podcast feed, subscribe to that. Follow us on X, Twitter. And that's what we asked for. Again, make sure you are subscribed. And if you are, get your friends and family to subscribe too. It's completely free. This show's completely free. All of our intel that we have, all the things that we give you guys, our thoughts and opinions, are free of charge. Don't have to pay at all. Excuse me. Next up here, Marvel news. We touched on this on the Tuesday show about the Avengers Doomsday trailer, and some of the details that were coming out about it. And you mentioned during that now I'm not going to rehash what we said on the Tuesday show, so go back and watch that if you haven't. But yes, we just sort of went over what I think will be in it, some of the descriptions of the trailer that have been out there, and in addition to that, we also talked about the release. All right, it's been rumored it'll be attached to the next James Cameron's Avatar film. I forget the name of it. It's like Fire and Ash or something like that, or Water and Ash. I don't really care about the title of that movie, but yeah, it's been rumored to be attached to the next James Cameron's Avatar movie. So whatever the next one's called, that's what the rumor has been. It'll be attached to it. Well, it turns out that according to the folks at Collider, the esteemed Collider, that it is confirmed, at least to their sources, that the trailer will be attached to the next Avatar film from James Cameron. Now, to be clear here, that does not mean that the trailer will be exclusive to that film. That's not the case, I don't think. Again, or it's let me rephrase that. Yeah, it's not. Just because I don't know what I was trying to say there. Just because the reporting has been, or at least the rumors and leaks and reporting now has been saying that will be attached to Avatar, does that mean it will be a theater exclusive trailer? It's probably not. I can guarantee you that it's probably not going to be. And in fact, we go to let's see here. Where did I put this at? Actually, should I check? Is there anything that's been breaking about this? There's a lot of information that's been coming out. Yeah, so according to a couple of folks, now this is not confirmed or not. I'm checking Twitter here, but according to some people, for example, the Beyond Reporter on Twitter, who's kind of one of the interesting Twitter X scoopers, if you will, leakers, they're saying kind of what I'm thinking, that the Doomsday trailer will be attached to Avatar. It won't be. That's not guaranteeing it will be a theater exclusive. It's probably not going to be. And their point is that there is a Comic-Con, I believe, CCXP? I think is that the one in New York, I believe? I don't remember, but yeah, it's one of the big conventions, the bigger pop culture conventions will be, I believe, the first week of December, and it's, according to them, they believe that it will release online before, which makes sense to me. I think that actually works out. I mean, we've seen it happen before. So, yeah, if we're thinking of a target date for it to release online before the next Avatar film from James Cameron, probably that first week of December. Which is why I'm telling you guys, again, make sure you subscribe, because I feel like that first week in general is gonna be insane. We have the Avengers trailer coming out, coaching hirings and firings happening, championship weekend for the conferences, playoff stuff. Yeah, it's gonna be insane. But yeah, that's probably the target date for the trailer to come out online on YouTube and stuff like that. And also, to add more fuel to this, Marvel Entertainment hosted and this happened right before we went live, and it's I mean, I'm not going to show it on here, but it's, if you go to their latest post on X, Twitter, it's very telling to what they're signaling here and what they're referring to. So that I'll just say that. But yeah, definitely, like I posted on Twitter earlier, I mean, look, it probably nothing, but I think it's something. So it definitely seems like we will be getting our first look at Avengers Doomsday here within the next 3 weeks. Like the Monday after Thanksgiving, around that time. Yeah, I would not be surprised. And it definitely seems like Marvel is sort of confirming that more information is coming, whether it's trailer, more casting announcements. I feel it'll probably be both, I would imagine. So yeah, very, very fun stuff there. And again, I'm kind of thinking, much like the others, that this will not be a theater exclusive trailer. This will be released online to the public for everyone to watch. Because, you know, why? I mean, it's their biggest movie they're coming out in the next year and a half, or yeah, actually not year and a half, a year or so. I mean, besides Spider-Man, but that's a Sony-only product. I mean, this is it for Disney and Marvel. I mean, this is their big deal next year. So, may as well start promoting it as early as you can, and I think they're going to. And it won't be a traditional trailer either. If all the rumors are right, this will be pretty impactful. And we'll again, as it gets closer, we'll talk more about it. But yeah, it is confirmed now, or at least as confirmed as it can get officially, that it will be coming in December. And again, I'm much like the other industry folks. I'm expecting it to be released probably online the first week of December, and then we'll get a theater version attached to the next James Cameron Avatar film. So again, I don't believe it'll be exclusively attached to that movie. I think that'll be pretty stupid if they did that. So no, it's not going to be like Christopher Nolan's Odyssey trailer, where it's like secretly, attached to another movie only. I'm not suggesting that's going to happen. That would be really stupid if I'm Marvel and Disney. That would not be very smart. At least from a marketing standpoint, I don't think that'd be very smart. Yeah, I certainly get folks to watch Avatar, but half of those folks don't even care about that movie. A lot of them would probably leave afterwards. So yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. but it's nice to have it confirmed now. But yeah, as we get closer, we can talk more about what I think will be in it. But I think we'll see. All right, to wrap up here, a little bit of a shorter show today. It says it was just, almost disconnected my the audio there on on Spotify. But yeah, so yeah, a little bit couldn't talk there. A little bit of a shorter show today because we did get started a little bit later. But yeah, since it's an off the show as we usually do, didn't do it last week because Bucs are off. Bucs prediction for their game this week: Patriots on the road at Buccaneers. This will be the 1 o'clock, I believe, because CBS has the single. I believe Fox has the double. I believe. Let me check here. Yeah, it is the 1 o'clock game on CBS. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wilson. So this is CBS's big game this week. Bucs Patriots could be a potential somehow, some way. Super Bowl preview. Not likely, but we'll see. This is a big game for Tampa. Not necessarily for their playoff hopes, because they lose this game, it's like whatever. They just need to do well within the NFC, and they'll be fine, especially their division. But in terms of a resume build, this is huge for them. This is huge. Again, it's at home. I think the scheduling dynamics, by the way, for Tampa works in their favor versus the Patriots. Patriots, I believe, are playing last week. I believe they played the Falcons. They're at home. They have to travel. Tampa's off a bye. They're rested now. In terms of who will be back for the Bucs, and of course, since the last time we talked about them ad nauseum, at least game-wise, they're still dealing with injuries, right? They were dealing with the Bucky Irving injury. Chris Godwin's been out. Of course, Mike Evans is out for, I'm assuming, the rest of the season. Does not come back. They have been very much so banged up. And the thinking was, going back to a couple weeks ago after the Saints game, that Tampa should be getting all these guys back, like except Mike Evans, right? So while their offensive line should be coming back, a lot more information, hopefully, and information about Bucky Irving coming back and Chris Godwin. Well, apparently, according to a lot of Bucs beat writers like Rick Stroud and folks who have Patriot Report, it turns out that Bucky Irving and Chris Godwin are nowhere to be seen at practice, which is seemingly confirming that they're not playing this week. It sucks. It kind of, at least, it lines up, right? That based on the reporting, that it lines up that that's the case. It's unfortunate. Again, I thought the bye week would be a nice opportunity for them to get healthier. There's no game. There was no game being played last week, but it happens sometimes that players aren't ready. I think what could be happening here, at least for Tampa, is that because it's not an NFC game, that's why they're still holding them out. I think I would not be surprised if it's the Rams game on the road. The Sunday before Thanksgiving is when they come back. That's my opinion. So yeah, so the game against the Patriots, the Bills after, which is on the road. Yeah, I'm not totally expecting either one of them or both to be. I'm not expecting both of them to be healthy before the Rams game. I think the Rams game is when they'll be back. That's what I'm thinking, because after that it's just straight NFC games, and except for the Dolphins. So I'm assuming that I think the Bucs are holding them out just long enough to where, look, if they lose to the Patriots or Bills, whatever, it doesn't impact your standings in the NFC. In the NFC, it just it hurts your resume. But even without them, even without Bucky Irving and Chris Godwin, which again, it's looking like they're not going to play, The fact that they haven't been at practice at all this week. I think Tampa's still fine. They still have good enough receivers. They still have good enough receiver depth. Running back room's still okay. Rashard Wright's good. He's a solid number one starter. Your receiving room is still pretty good. Sean Tucker's never asset to you. Look, as long as you have Baker as your quarterback, he's healthy and ready to go, they should be fine in terms of being able to still compete. Like, again, without Chris and Irving out, I'm not too concerned. It sucks, but I'm not worried. Based on what I've seen from this team, even with them struggling against Detroit and even struggling against the Saints offensively, I'm not too concerned. And I think the bye week, honestly, is really going to help these young receivers step up, like Tez Johnson, and Emeka Ibuka, all these younger receivers. It's going to help them out big time, at least getting them time to your rest and get recharged. And for the Patriots, again, they're coming off a win over the Falcons, I believe. They took care of them. The Falcons are a horrible team. Definitely a change of leadership there coming, at least in terms of the head coach. They're probably coming. Patriots starting to slouch. They're a very good team. They're first in the AFC East for a reason. Mike Vrabel, very good coach. He has a certain style. It's a very physical style, a physical brand of football that they play. Something that the Bucs have not seen a whole lot besides the 49ers, probably. Maybe the Detroit game, but Detroit does more spread out stuff. They don't, they don't really do, full on pound the football. But the Patriots, they can do that with Drake May and have decent enough talent, not the best around, not necessarily like talent that would like really scare you, but it's good enough talent there at the receiver position. They have, of course, Stephon Diggs is there. They have Stevenson. At running back is pretty good. So yeah, they have good options there. The defense is fairly decent as well, so it'll be a good challenge for Tampa. The young kid from LSU, like Kayshon Boutte, is still there. He's having a decent year. So, and I've watched him a little bit, not a whole lot. I think the game I watched him the last time was I believe the Bills game fully. I've seen a little bit of their games afterwards, but so again, going back to the whole bye advantage, I think Tampa has that because they were off this week, obviously, of course. But what even makes it more interesting is that the Patriots have not had their bye yet. Theirs is, I believe, the second weekend or the second Sunday. I believe is they're not playing. Yeah, so they're off. They're not off yet. So they've been playing 9 straight games. Look, this will be their 10th. Very hard to do, even in the pro level, college level. That's not easy to do. And they have been, on a massive win streak. I mean, they've looked good, though. I mean, they've looked pretty good. I mean, look, they put up 42 against the Panthers. They beat the Bills. They disposed of the Saints, Titans, Browns. They were, that close game against the Falcons, but, they still won, and that's still an NFL team, even though that whole organization, that team in general is trash. To be honest with you, and that's not even me being a Bucs fan. That's just from looking at it generically, they're not good. But that's got to end somehow, right? Again, it's at home for Tampa. They're back at home. They're off a bye week. Patriots have been, playing all these games consistently. And at some point, you got to lose again. And they've been on, like a 5-game win streak or something like that. So even with the injuries, even with certain players being out, it's at home for Tampa. They're off the bye. Patriots are playing their 10th straight game as of this Sunday. I think Tampa wins the game outright. And I think they cover. The spread on this game, according to FanDuel, not sponsored of the show, is 2.5 for Tampa. I like that. If I were betting this game, I would definitely take that than the cover. So yeah, I think Tampa wins from the cover. I think Tampa's defense will be the difference in this game. I think the offense will be a little bit slow, given the injuries and them being off a week. But I think their defense, though, for Tampa, then they're really going to be able to take advantage of this Patriots offense because even though they've looked good, it's not a polished product. They've had issues. They've had miscues. So I'm expecting Tampa defensively to actually be the difference in this game and be the big story than their offense, much like the New Orleans game. So, yeah, give me Tampa to win, give them to cover. Now, this was on the road. If this is opposite, circumstances, right? If Tampa was on the road and the Patriots are off a bye, obviously, yeah, Patriots to win and cover. But give me for Tampa. That's not the case, and they're the team who has the schedule dynamic there. So good for Tampa. Unfortunately, though, it doesn't get any easier because they go on the road to Buffalo next week, and I am really worried about that game. So then they have the Rams on the road, too, afterwards. So back-to-back road games after this. and then they are at home for 3 straight weeks after that. So how about that? So that's it for the show. Again, I think we should be live on Sunday as usual, or not live on Sunday. We'll do our recap video either Sunday night or Saturday night. We'll see. Now for Tuesday, next Tuesday, it's on Veterans Day, of course, but I think we'll have to do a show late Tuesday night. I know. It's not traditional for us, but we're gonna have to. We're gonna have the schedule just doesn't work out for us. We'll have to move the Tuesday show from the afternoon to the evening. I know we're gonna be competing with Josh Pate, but is what it is sometimes. If we have to change the schedule around, done it before, did it early in the year. Sometimes we have to. So yes, there will have to be a Tuesday evening show, not during the day. Next Thursday should be fine. We'll see. But yeah, all indications are pointing to us not doing a traditional show on Tuesday during the day. It'll just have to be at night. So I know it sucks, but it happens sometimes. But we can adapt. Done it before. So until next Tuesday night for the show, but until this weekend for our recap. Enjoy the games this weekend. Again, we'll have our. I'll do an individual video about this whole YouTube TV thing, especially if it's not resolved tomorrow. But yeah, I was going to talk about it on the show, but I thought we'll just do a quick little video on that tomorrow. So again, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We'll have a video tomorrow on the YouTube, on the YouTube TV, ESPN, Disney thing tomorrow. Of course, we'll have a recap show over the weekend about college football, and we'll have our show Tuesday night. So until we see you guys next time, and take care, enjoy the games this weekend. Hopefully YouTube TV gets their shit together. Until then, we'll see you next time, and we will see you on the next stream.